after the manufactured controversy regarding Ilhan Omar's so-called anti-Semitic tweet reached a fever pitch once the president called on her to resign, she decided to do something that Democrats don't often do. She decided to take a stand and actually fight back against these illegitimate calls from bad faith actors to resign. And she said this to Donald Trump, quote, "You have trafficked in hate your whole life against Jews, Muslims, indigenous, immigrants, black people, and more. I learned from people impacted by my words. When will you?" And really, kudos to her for actually fighting back, because typically when Democrats are faced with even the smallest semblance of criticism from the right, they melt down. They don't know how to respond. But what she's doing here is actually unique in fighting back. Other Democrats should probably take note. And really, she should fight back. She's right to fight back, because Donald Trump is suddenly claiming to care about anti-Semitism when, in 2017, when neo-Nazis marched in Charlottesville, when they chanted "Jews will not replace us," when they chanted "blood and soil," he refused to condemn all of those people. He said there were very fine people on both sides. I mean, do you honestly think that he cares about anti-Semitism? Or for Donald Trump, is this just about him exploiting this opportunity to attack a Muslim woman of color who's a political opponent? I mean, if you really think that he genuinely cares about anti-Semitism, then I've got a bridge to sell you. But what I probably find the most interesting about this entire debacle is that it seems like the most notoriously bigoted people on the right are also jumping at this opportunity to attack Ilhan Omar, including Laura Ingraham of Fox News, who, I mean, if you know anything about Laura Ingraham, then your initial reaction should be, have a seat, Laura. You're not the best person to educate all of us on sensitivity and anti-Semitism. Because let me remind you, this is someone who has previously said immigrants are destroying the America we love. She warned us of, quote, demographic changes and how the America as we know it no longer exists. She's concocted conspiracy theories about how Democrats support illegal immigration, specifically so undocumented immigrants can vote illegally for Democrats. I mean, this is someone who's not just racist and xenophobic, but I think most individuals who are rational would see that she is a generally shitty person. But nonetheless, she's going to convince you and all of us now, or try to at least, that she cares about anti-Semitism, and she's going to attack Ilhan Omar. But in this segment where she talks about Ilhan Omar, she actually brought on fellow progressive podcast host Katie Halper, who's also an American Jewish progressive, and she's going to actually defend Ilhan Omar here in a really powerful segment. But throughout the course of this segment, you see what Katie Halper is saying, and it's wonderful, but I can't help but be simultaneously angry because the response that Laura Ingraham has to everything Katie Halper says is just incredibly condescending, and it got under my skin. Take a look.
Katie, you say that Omar's comments are both not anti-Semitic, and you didn't have a problem, I imagine, with the first comments.
No, I mean, I have a problem with smearing her
fine.
as an anti-Semite. She said something, this is how anti-Semitic it was, apparently. She said something that Thomas Friedman, major supporter of Israel, has said. Thomas Friedman said at the New York Times that an applause that Bibi Netanyahu received was paid for by the Israel lobby. An Israel lobby, any lobby is a lobby. A lobby uses money to influence politics and politicians. That's what AIPAC does. AIPAC wants you to know that. AIPAC knows that. Everyone who donates to AIPAC knows that. This is literally stating a fact. There's nothing anti-Semitic in there. What is anti-Semitic, though, if you want to talk about anti-Semitic tropes and playing into those, is what Kevin McCarthy, who along with Donald Trump is going after Ilhan Omar, and what he said in a tweet that he deleted was that that Steyer and Bloomberg and Soros were buying the election. Now, that is an anti-Semitic trope that he definitely played into. He deleted the tweet, but he never apologized.
So
and
billionaires
Trump,
can't buy an election.
Well,
then I get billionaires who are liberal. That's cool. But if you're a conservative, you're spending too much money.
Wait,
all right, Katie.
Also, Trump.
Katie, Katie, take a breath. Take a breath. Let it out. It's okay. Take a breath, Katie. No one can understand if you talk over me, sweetie.
Crazy. I get annoyed by hypocrisy and Islamophobia.
Well, I get annoyed when people talk over it because our viewers can't actually hear what we're saying. So I want them to hear you, and then I want them to hear everybody. Okay, Matt didn't interrupt you, so try to just take a breath. All right, this is the Jerusalem Post today. Don't roll your eyes. My daughter does that, and it gets really annoying.
That last part had me fuming. Because how dare you treat your guest like that? Shouldn't you as a host treat your guests with respect? I mean, you brought on Katie Halper to get her unique perspective as a Jewish American progressive, and you treat her as if she's a fucking child. Who are you, Laura Ingraham? Who are you to talk down to her as if you're better than Katie Halper? You're not better than Katie Halper. But the reason why Laura Ingraham was treating Katie Halper that bad is because she was saying things that Laura Ingraham didn't agree with. So the response was hostility. The response was to talk down to her in order to try to diminish her credibility. But what Katie Halper did in that clip was she revealed that they are incredibly hypocritical because she pointed to Kevin McCarthy invoking anti-Semitic tropes. He name-dropped 3 different Jewish billionaires, Tom Steyer, Bloomberg, Soros, and he said that they're trying to, quote, buy the election. Now, what was Laura Ingraham's response? Quote, so billionaires can't buy elections now? She's so stupid. Objectively speaking, Laura Ingraham doesn't have the intellectual capacity to host a show because you can't even grasp a simple point that Katie Halper was making. The point was that, no, it's not acceptable for billionaires to buy elections. The left is actually speaking out against that more so than the right, more so than you, Laura Ingraham. But the point is, why is what Kevin McCarthy did, why is that not anti-Semitic, but why is what Ilhan Omar did anti-Semitic? Why is that a trope, but Kevin McCarthy's statement isn't a trope? She's pointing to the hypocrisy, but it flew right over Laura Ingraham's head. And if it didn't, if she actually did grasp why this double standard is problematic, then, it explains why she got angry. So there's another clip here that I want to show you where it was my favorite part because in this clip, Katie Halper just unleashes and Laura Ingraham and the other guests couldn't keep up, so they just try to shut down the debate. But Katie Halper talks right past them, and even if they may not have grasped her point, by and large, it's easy to see that she got the better of this exchange, and I hope that what she said resonates with viewers.
They're a democracy, an important part of the world. They're a strategic ally to the United States. We don't have to agree with absolutely every decision their government makes, but it is wrong to attack them as a people.
Well, no one attacked them as a people, luckily.
I just saw that tweet.
AIPAC. I'm a Jew. I'm a person. No one attacked me because I don't support AIPAC. Millions of Jews don't support AIPAC, and that's why there are all these alternatives.
But this is the problem.
Because Jews like me are really tired of having AIPAC, which is a very small but very powerful elite minority representation of Jews. It's very tiresome to have them claim to speak for all Jews and conflate Jewish identity with unquestioning support of Israel, which is an anti-Semitic trope in itself.
Let me just say this, Laura. This is the big dynamic.
It would be nice if Donald Trump had actually condemned the people in Charlottesville. And you, Matt, you work in this communications,
if I could please just answer.
Why didn't he condemn the people in Charlottesville?
Let's stay on
you guys, I gotta tell you.
Guys, did not mention Jews in his statement.
So again, what she did there was pointed to specific instances where Donald Trump defended anti-Semitism. He refused to condemn neo-Nazis who marched in Charlottesville. So what Katie Halper is doing is she's juxtaposing what is seemingly 2 different realities. One, Donald Trump defending neo-Nazis and refusing to condemn them, and him also condemning Ilhan Omar for supposedly anti-Semitic remarks. She's saying these are contradictory things. Either he's against anti-Semitism or he's not. But what she's pointing out here is, first of all, everyone who is supposedly outraged by this, they're saying, one, that Kevin McCarthy, with his tweet, that wasn't an anti-Semitic trope, and also it wasn't anti-Semitic for Donald Trump to not unequivocally condemn the neo-Nazis who marched in Charlottesville. But yet, what Ilhan Omar did in pointing out the influence that a lobbying organization has on Washington, D.C., that was somehow anti-Semitic, and you want us to take you seriously and believe you when you say that what she did is anti-Semitic, when Donald Trump not condemning neo-Nazis, when Kevin McCarthy invoking anti-Semitic tropes, that's not anti-Semitic to you? She's pointing out this double standard that is evident. It shows that they are bad faith actors and they're not consistent. They just care about beating their political opponents. And they're using this as an opportunity to cultivate outrage among the left so that way they can get the left to attack Ilhan Omar, to attack one of their own. And it's working perfectly because that's exactly what happened. We had Democratic Party leadership condemn Ilhan Omar. We had basically everyone either condemn her in the Democratic Party or just not really come to her defense. And that's exactly what they wanted. So what Katie Halper is demonstrating here is that this is all just much ado about nothing. It's bullshit. It's manufactured outrage. It's selective outrage. It's quintessential selective outrage. This is a game to them. They don't care about anti-Semitism because if they did, Donald Trump would have condemned the neo-Nazis and Kevin McCarthy wouldn't have invoked an anti-Semitic trope. But they don't care. They're more than willing to call out anti-Semitism when it happens on the left, supposedly, but when it happens on the right, they plug their ears and cover their eyes.
Girly Mike Fettuccine needs your support on Patreon. What a loser. Visit patreon.com/Humanist Report to support the low ratings Humanist Report. Sad. My views are much higher.